Hi, I'm Daniel, I'm a sleep physician, and if you have insomnia, this channel is for you. Today, we're going to talk about a core CBTi technique called stimulus control and how that technique sometimes can do more harm than good. We're going to see how to do it properly or not do it at all, depending on what is best for you. Hey there, hope you're doing fantastic today, thanks everyone for all the comments and emails. I really appreciate all of that. And in this episode, in fact, was inspired by a comment from Digital Ministry or Digital One Ministry 9, which we're going to get to in a second. I just want to share one more thing, which is, let me scroll back up here. This is an exchange between Pexi, who has had 13 years of insomnia and is now completely past that, and Sophia, who connected with me at the beginning of this year, and I think she's had trouble sleeping, maybe something like 9 months or a year, something like that. But maybe actually be longer, based on something I read in this thread. But anyway, it's a series of comments on episode 248, and I encourage everyone to read this entire thread. It's really helpful, and I just want to actually share kind of like the best of here from Pexi, which I felt was the following. The best advice I can give you for the position you're in when you ask me what I'm doing is this: don't do anything. Don't do or change anything to fix bad nights. Your body controls sleep. You always will sleep again. It may seem counterintuitive, but in a greater sense, there's no problem with your sleep. The problem is you think there is, and all the things you're doing to try to fix it. I hope this makes sense to you. And another thing from Pexi again here: my life fell apart 13 years and my sleep got so bad that one day I just didn't care if I slept anymore. That's when I started sleeping a little better. I wanted to know how this worked, so I started listening to people's stories like the ones on this channel and learned that all the things I was doing to fix my sleep was the trap I'd fallen into. And there's much more that's really helpful here. And overall, I think Pexi has so much great insight, and particularly I feel like getting past insomnia is kind of like that rocket that has like a starting rocket and then the main rocket or whatnot. Like the first step, I believe, is like you do a little work. You got to learn about like sleep and insomnia and things like that. But once that's passed, then you should 100% do the Pexi thing, like shift attention away from sleep. Do less things. Like that is the key for sure. So thanks, Pexi, for all your support. And with that said, let's move on to this other comment that I wanted to spend some time on. And this is from Digital One Ministry, who commented on episode 249. And there's a lot of great things here too. I think you should read this one too. But I really want to focus on the following. So Digital Ministry here. CBTi did not work for Digital Ministry, and this may have been a reason for it. So I want to really read this part. It took me almost 2 years to realize that I wasn't going to improve my sleep by blaming it on my behaviors or trying to use stimulus control and constantly getting out of bed, worrying about not laying in bed awake for more than 15 minutes. Now I lay in bed whenever I want to. I lay in bed for an hour to meditate every day and I still get plenty of sleep. I read in bed, watch shows, and pet my dogs in bed. I once banned my dogs from my bed thinking they might be to blame. Now they sleep with me again. And there, again, much more there. But this I thought was super important because I feel like I've heard this before. Somebody's trying to do what's called stimulus control, and by adhering to these very simple rules, which is kind of like somebody saying, like, if you've been in 15 minutes in bed and you can't sleep, get out of bed and go back maybe 15 minutes later. Or if you can't sleep in 20 minutes, get out of bed, only go back 20 minutes later. And that can create a lot of anxiety and pressure and tension. Because what might happen is you go to bed and they're like, oh, I hope I've fallen asleep in 15 minutes. I otherwise have to get out of bed. And now it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Oh my gosh, I've been here 15 minutes. I got to get out. And then you're frustrated. It's like 15 minutes. Now I go back. And you can go back and forth. And that can be super counterproductive. So what's the deal with stimulus control? Like, should you do it or should you not do it? Well, here's the thing. I think it all really boils down to this simple thing, which is, are you frustrated, annoyed, and angry when you're in your bed? Or are you enjoying your time in your bed, even if you're not sleeping? Because the key really becomes, you don't want to associate, your bed, being in your bed, with not sleeping, with kind of anxiety and frustration. That's number one. And number two, when you can't sleep, you want to shift attention away from the fact that you can't sleep. And so stimulus control can work if it can even work in that simple form. For some people, that 20-minute thing can work, but I think that's very simplistic. I think a good way of doing stimulus control is to, like, when you can't sleep, when you're going to bed and you're not falling asleep, or you wake up and you feel like you've been awake for a while, is to kind of take that mental imagery thing, like you imagine yourself in a nice space, in a pleasant place. If that comes easy to you, you can just stay in bed, or you can do what Digital Ministry did. You can read a book in bed. Yeah, you can watch TV in bed. You can play your phone in bed. You can pet your dogs in bed, if that makes you feel good. You're still in bed, but you're feeling good. You're relaxed. You're enjoying. Perfectly fine, because you're not creating that association between the bed and not sleeping, and your mind is not focused on like trying to sleep and is not frustrated. On the other hand, if you're like, you're in bed, you wake up and you're like, let me play with my phone, and you can't get your mind off how annoyed you are with not sleeping, then I think it's better to leave the bed. And part of that is, again, breaking that association of the bed and not sleeping, but also because when you leave the bed and bedroom, I think there's a greater chance that your thoughts shift away from sleep. And then and again, just to mention this one, which I know I've said this a lot, but it's an important one. What should you do when you're not in bed? Again, it's a matter of shifting attention away from sleep. If it is being on your phone, if it is watching TV, and that's relaxing, it takes your mind off sleep, I think that's perfectly fine. So I'm going to end there. I hope this was a helpful insight, and I want to thank Digital Ministry. I want to thank Pexi, Sophia, and everybody else that is contributing so much. And with that said, I felt there was like this other thing I wanted to share. It does not pop into my mind, so I'm sure it wasn't that important. I will be back tomorrow. Until then, take it easy.